Welcome to my channel today. If you're new to my channel, I'm really excited that you're here. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscription button and turn on your bell notification so you're informed of every time that I post a video. Do not forget to comment and also like my video. My name is Carina darling. In my channel, I talk about everything personal finance, self-development and faith. In my last video, I did talk about your why and how to be financially free. I hope you had a chance to watch that video. If you didn't, I would encourage you to watch that video and really understand your why and why that is important and being able to perfect and master your skills. In today's video, I'll be looking at how you can go about mastering your skills, which is also part of your why. So once you know your why, which is from the previous video, you will also know that I talked about your how. And how is how you go about perfecting your skills, how to master your skills. And I talked about mastery as something that we should persevere to attain. I looked at Proverbs 22 verse 29, which says that, "Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men." So our aim is to stand before kings. How can we stand before kings? Is by mastering our skills and being the best of the best in what we do. Proverbs says we shouldn't stop mastering our skills until we're serving kings. Until I start serving kings, I'm not going to stop mastering my skills. Until you start serving kings, do not stop mastering your skills. And in today's video, I want to look at the ways that you can go about mastering your skills. One of the key things to ensure that you do when trying to master your skill is discipline and focus. But before I go into the point of discipline and focus, I want to touch on something which is laziness. So in looking at laziness, there's so many references in the Bible to laziness, but one of them is in Proverbs 13 verse 4. I'm reading from the New King James Version. "The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich." A lot of times people talk about, oh, but riches is not from God. No, it is absolutely from God. If you look at the Bible is covered with wealth and riches. Every person that followed God, he made wealthy. Look at Abraham, the blessings of God to Abraham. Abraham used to worship idol with his fathers, but God took him out of his father's country and took him to a place and made him wealthy. Look at Joseph. All the people that God brought out of places, he made them immensely wealthy, because it is important for children of God to be wealthy. So why is it that the Bible says that the soul of a lazy man desires? Because lazy people desire a lot of things. When you talk to someone who is lazy, a lot of times what they do is talk, but there's no action. So the desire is there, but it's the work that you put in that changes your desire to whatever it is you want to do. A lot of people desire to be rich, but how many of them are rich today? Not many, because they haven't done anything or consistently done anything to follow it. And I know some people will say, but I'm not lazy, I'm very hardworking. I like that. Physically hardworking, yes, but sometimes people are mentally lazy. What do I mean by mental laziness? Mental laziness is a lack of interest to grow and learn. So if you catch yourself giving yourself excuses why you don't want to learn, why you don't want to grow, or you're having all these negative views about things, then you're mentally lazy. It means that you're not applying your mind to then produce the things that you can produce. You could be physically strong, but you could be mentally lazy. And in today's world, mental laziness is actually what will keep you poor, because a lot of times what you're doing with your mind is how you create wealth. So we've looked at laziness. Now we're going to look at sleep. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 13. I'll read that out to you. "Do not love sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes and you will be satisfied with bread." See, sleep is linked to poverty. Why? Because when you're sleeping, what are you producing? Nothing. You're sleeping, so you will not have food. You may say to me, but Carina, do I not need to sleep? You do. Absolutely, you should. You should sleep at the time that you're meant to sleep, which is at night. But any time outside that, except you're very, very tired, be awake and be working. Do I love to sleep? Honestly, no, I don't actually. I do like to sleep when I should sleep, so I give my body time to rest and recuperate, and I know what sleep does to my body, which is to heal and repair my body. But once I've gotten that, I'm up. I want to be doing something because that's the only way I am productive. Sometimes people say to me, oh, but I need to sleep 10 or 12 hours. No, you don't. You can sleep 7 to 8 hours. Maybe there's a one-off day in a week or every 2 weeks where you sleep for 12 hours. Then that's good. Your body needs that. But outside that, you don't need any more than 8 hours or 7 hours sleep. So actually, sleeping is synonymous for laziness. And a person who is lazy is a person who will be poor. In Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10, it says that whatever your hand sees to do, do it with all your might. That has been my ethos actually. Since I started working, or even when I was studying, whatever I have to do, I do. So long as I'm doing something, I'm happy. Of course, you have to also be productive and ensure that the things that you're doing, you're not just wasting time. That's different. That's strategy. That's how you go about doing it. But ensure that you're a hardworking person. Now, let's go back to the number one point of this video, which is discipline and focus. Discipline and focus is so important. If you want to be the best at anything, you have to be a very disciplined person and you have to be someone who is focused. 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 4 says, no one engaged in warfare entangles himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who enlisted him as a soldier. So this, we're already seeing that if you keep yourself busy, stay focused on the thing that God has called you to do, that is your why, and you're not focused on your how to attain that, you will not be distracted by the things of this world. And sometimes people say, oh, but I couldn't resist that, or I couldn't stop. No, actually, when you're a focused person or a disciplined person, it's quite easy for you to say no to things that are not important. It's when you don't know your why, when you don't know how to go about perfecting your skills, that you get distracted by so many different things in the world. But if you're a focused person and you're a disciplined person, there's so many things that you say no to because you know the reason you're here, you know what you're working towards. It's very easy to then say, no, I think that's going to distract me. And sometimes good things can also be distraction. So it's important to also recognize that. We have to remember that on the journey of attaining our how and also attaining our why, there will be times when life will test you. Life will test you on your why. Are you strong enough to resist the temptations that are going to come before you? Life will test you on whether this is really what you want to do. And this is why discipline and focus is important. It will come in different fashions. It will test you with loved ones. It will test you with the things that you want to attain. So for example, if you set your goal and say, oh, this is what I want to achieve this year, and life will test you to see if those goals are really what you want to attain. This year has been the hardest year of my life. When I look at the things that I set for myself this year, by the grace of God, I have attained more than 80% of the things I had set for myself this year. If I even shared that with loved ones, they'll be surprised because they know how hard this year has been. The devil has tested me in so many ways. The devil has used people that I never thought could ever do things that I could never even believe that they were capable of doing, but they allowed themselves to be used. And all that I saw as a lesson for me to learn, things I need to take stock of and areas where I need to grow, but more especially testing my focus and my discipline. When life comes, and it's so easy for people to make excuses, but oh yeah, I had this plan and this happened and so I couldn't do it. Actually, no. If you stay focused and disciplined, you will achieve those things. And if you're somebody who has God, all we need is God. We don't need the whole world. If I have someone rooting for me, great. If I don't have anybody rooting for me, I know God is rooting for me. So long as I can go to bed at night and sleep and not feel like I have done something wrong, and when I search my heart is pure and I have peace, I'm going for it. I'm staying focused. And if I allow myself to be swayed by every wave that comes, because wave will come in life, I'm never going to attain what I have set for myself. So I want to encourage you today that you should also set goals for yourself and put in the hand of God. Of course, when you're setting your goals, make sure that they're in alignment with God's purposes over your life. Some of my encouragement is when I look at the people in the Bible, especially Paul and all the different clouds of witnesses that are watching over us and cheering us on and guiding us, and more especially Jesus, who is interceding for us. But when you look at the life of Paul's life really had a lot of turbulence. The disciples in the early church went through the most challenging that we today can only imagine it, what they went through, but they never stopped. Even in prison, they're praising God. Even in prison, they're preaching. They would go to the cities where they've been warned you're going to be killed if you get here. They will still go for the kingdom. So these people, all they did was that they stayed disciplined and they stayed focused. And a lot of times when you're a disciplined and focused person, honestly, there'll be very little things that will distract you, because as you keep training yourself to be disciplined and focused in your how, that would be a driving force. And when your why is greater than you, then a lot of the struggles that you face, when they come, you're able to withstand them, because your why is not for you, it's bigger than you. Because of that, you persevere and you're like, I'm going to do this because this is not for me. This is for people more than me. This is for society. This is for my contribution to my existence. So that gives you even more strength and courage. And of course, God is constantly watching over you and protecting you. Then you get your confidence to keep persevering. I've actually touched on the next point, which is endurance and perseverance. Endurance and perseverance is part of the journey. You have to recognize that nothing good comes easy, because you will be tested along the way. You will be tested to see how much you can endure and how much you can persevere. And a lot of times this comes with suffering and it comes with pain. So your ability to withstand pain and pressure is going to bring out the qualities in you that should come out for the journey ahead. Are you withstanding pain and still able to stay focused on the purpose that you have in your life? Then you are very close to achieving the purposes that God has set for you and you have set for yourself as well. One of the ways that I have been able to stay disciplined and focused, persevere and have endurance is by knowing my values as a person. What makes me who I am? What is my character as a person, and what are my values? These are the things that will hold you through the difficult times. So for me, it's integrity, being someone of integrity. If I say I'm going to do something, I will do it, and I will hold myself accountable. My word is my bond. If I say yes, is my yes. If I say no, is my no. Being someone who is loyal, no matter what someone has done to me, I'm not going to be disloyal to them, especially if they have confided in me and told me things that are very personal, things that they probably shared with me in a very vulnerable state. Never to disclose those things and keep those things to myself. These are characters that are important to me. And also living a life like Jesus. Jesus was someone who went about doing good. His goodness was what people loved him for. And this is all part of your why. I'm going to make a video where I'm going to go a bit more detail into how you can go about your why. And it's just knowing those core values, knowing yourself, knowing the things that matter the most to you, and how you want to be remembered. You don't want to be remembered as a liar. You don't want to be remembered as someone who says something and they never do it. You want to be someone of integrity, someone who people can trust. Are you loyal? Are you trustworthy? Are you somebody who, when things happen, you break and you start blaming people and you never take responsibility for your action? Then you need to look at your character and do a deep search and ask yourself, why am I this kind of person? Why am I a flaky person? Because these are the things that will ground you when the going gets tough. Another way you can gain mastery and the keys to mastery and attaining financial destinies is actually being a person who takes action, no talking. I hear so many people say, I have this idea, I can do this, I can do that. When it comes to doing, nothing. It's better that you do and not talk than talk and you don't do. What does that mean? So basically, be someone who your action speaks louder than your words. Do and show people that you're a doer. It's worth noting that if you have ideas and you haven't taken action and you're not consistently following your action, it's not really going to materialize to anything. You could have all the best ideas. You could be someone who, people say, oh yeah, that person has great ideas, but your ideas have never materialized to anything because you've never taken action. And even if you've taken action, you've never been consistent in your action. So be someone who is consistent and follow through and take action, and wherever you can, even when things are tough, remain humble and remain focused and remain disciplined. Sometimes people ask me, they say that, do you think destinies can be aborted? Yes, that's the honest truth. Destinies can be aborted if you do nothing. So my last point is making excuses. Let's try to be people who make little to no excuse. Let's always show up. Let's always be people that when we say we're going to do something, let's try and do it. Let's try and stick to our words. And of course, there are times when things will happen where we say, okay, realistically, if I have to weigh things, I can't handle this, and that's understandable. But let's not be people who are constantly making excuses and choosing not to take responsibility. community, because that's impacting our financial destiny, and that would also impact you being mastery at what you do. You might be saying to me, Carina, why am I going through all these things? It's through process. The law of process is so important. We have to be tested and proven that we can actually do what we say we want to do, and even you have to be tested to show that you are capable of being trusted with other people's destiny. A lot of times the things that we go through is not for us, it's also for others. We think about it that way, that we are custodians and everything we do is to bless other people, is to bless the community around us. If not tested, how can we prove that we are now in a position where people's lives can be trusted in our hands and we can look after other people and we can protect them? In Psalm 66 verse 12, the second part of it says, we went through fire and through water, but you brought us out to reach fulfillment. So we have to go through water and fire to be transformed. Before you have gold, it goes through a refining process, and it's very extreme fire that it goes through. Even when you cook food, before the food is ready, it goes through cooking and it goes through fire to be cooked before it's in a place where you can eat it and you enjoy it. It's the same thing for us. We have to go through processes to prove that we are capable of doing what we say we want to do and capable to be trusted with the lives of other people. Another reason why we go through processes is that things take time. Destinies take time to materialize. True success takes time to manifest. And most times, to be a successful person is not just making wealth, it's also being able to be a custodian of that wealth and actually holding that wealth for generations to come. It's only through processes that you can then become a person that is able to grow wealth, that is able to hold it on behalf of other generations. Making money is easy, but keeping the money and using that money to make it grow and develop is a different skill in itself, and that involves process, that involves refining. Sometimes you may ask, why do we go through this process? To create memories, to create experiences, so that when we have or attain that level of success, that we can keep it and we can be custodians of it. It's important to be able to maintain what you're given. I know people who have gotten things very easy and they threw it away because it came so easy for them. They didn't suffer to get it. But when you suffer and go through a process or a period of waiting or a period where you are being refined, when you get that thing, you're going to cherish it. You're going to look at it and say, oh my goodness, I put in so much into this. I don't want to lose it. I want to make sure that I bring the best out of it, and also it brings the best out of me. And finally, what does process help you do? Process helps you to be loyal. Process will test your loyalty and commitment to something. There's no way that you will be committed to something that it will take you a year as opposed to something that took you 10 years. You're going to value that stuff that took you 10 years to achieve. Your loyalty to that thing and your commitment to see it happen, that's what you're showing, and that's what process is going to test. Process builds patience. Patience is a skill that we all have to develop. It's in us, but we all have to develop it. And process will help you to build on that. It's building character. It's building perseverance. It's building endurance. It's building patience. It's building these characters that will make you a solid person. A person that when that thing comes to you, you're going to cherish it, you're going to love it, you're going to look after it, you're not going to be wasteful with it because you know how much you suffered to get it. And finally, one of the things that process does is it makes you appreciate people and celebrate those who have gone through that same process or people who have even achieved more. So when I look at people who say to me, I'm a medical doctor, I respect them. Because I haven't gone to medical school, but I know what I've done as a lawyer. I have an idea of what they've had to go through, the rigor that they've had to go through, the training that they've had to go through, the exams, the way they've been tested. So I respect them. If I see someone who is specialist in what they do, I respect them because I know that it's not easy. I run businesses, and when I see a successful business person, I respect that person because I'm like, wow, I can imagine what you've gone through. When I see people who have a PhD, I respect them because I have an idea of what they're going through. The rigor involved in having a PhD, it's intense. That level of education and being able to be isolated for such a long period of time, researching and trying to prove that what you have done is of value to be given that title. There's a lot of work that goes into it. The mental stress and stimulation that comes out of it, both negative and positive, it's intense. And process helps you to appreciate that. You don't have to be in their field of work. You don't have to have the same skills as them, but you respect people who have gone through stuff. And if you haven't gone through that, then don't trash talk people, because it takes a lot to get that. There's a wise saying that if you have nothing good to say, just keep quiet. And I think that is a really good place to end this video, where if we can learn to appreciate what other people do and what they put in, and if we don't know it, it's better to just be quiet and respect what they've done. On that good note, I wish you all the best. I'm going to be linking another video to this video so you can watch it if you really enjoyed this video. I just want to thank you for the time that you've given to me. I appreciate it. Please leave in the comment section videos that you would like me to talk about or expand a bit more. I hope to see you very soon. Take care now. Bye for now.